All right, welcome back everybody to Coffee Cafe. Last time we left off was we actually made a purchase of the computer and printer, and we split the taxes on it, and we found out which category belongs into which, and I believe the last I entered in was I actually placed them all into the ledger accordingly. So with that being said, we left off here. So our next scenario that we have is going to be completing this one on the same day. On June 5th, we have to pay for insurance. So let's read this scenario here. We paid liability insurance for 12 months starting on the 5th of June of 2020. Okay. For the total amount of $235,350. Okay, issued check paid to Sargent Insurance Company. Okay, so what should I do here?
I guess we look up our chart of account number first.
Sure, okay. Okay, so what are we looking for?
Insurance. So, expenses.
Expenses, okay.
And I see insurance expense of account 6,400.
6,400, okay, good.
Yeah.
What else? What other accounts am I going to also be using? Okay.
Post to the subsidiary ledger account. So let's see here.
Okay.
Well, obviously a vendor.
Yes.
So, because they are a vendor, and then checking as well.
Yes, checking. Good. Now here I have something that you can take note. I'm buying 12 months worth of insurance or a year's worth of insurance. Okay. Normally expenses happen in the current given period or the month, right? So assuming that my how I do on my accounting, it's at the end of the month. So I'm only going to have insurance expense for the month of June. So what does July, August, September, and all those months afterwards, what are those considered?
Prepaid accounts.
Prepaid accounts, right? It's insurance that you've paid for in advance for. So good. So here, prepaid accounts is going to be account number
18600.
18600. Okay, good. So now let's go to our general journal and let's journalize this transaction. So June 5th, okay, I have insurance expense. Okay. For account number
60400.
good. And then I have prepaid accounts for 18,600. And lastly, how am I paying for this?
Check.
Yes, we're going to pay using a check. So checking. All right. So here's a few things that we got to do. We need to look at our total amount, right? For the whole 12 months insurance, it's going to cost me $2,350. So how do I determine what 1 month's going to be?
Divide that by 12.
Good. So here,
So it's $195.83 a month.
Yes, 195.83 per month. And therefore, I need a grand total to pay off my check to equal $2,350. So I can just do simple math and determine, well, what is that minus 1 month? It's going to give me 2,154 and 17 cents. All right. So first things first, what do I need to do first?
Well, first you're gonna make your note here about what you paid, right?
Yes. Okay. So what do you want to add here?
That Sergeant Insurance Company, check number 1503, and prepaid for 12 months or 1 year, right?
Yeah, you could do that. That's perfect. So start your insurance, okay? Where do we get this check number from? It's because I told you what the check number is, but how do you confirm where the check number is?
From
I don't
the
wait. I didn't. I
brokerage.
even write where the check number is.
check register
Yes, you may have to go to the check register first before
first.
completing your
Okay.
piece of information. So check register. All right. Date is June 5th. We know that it's going to be checked for 1503. And for what amount am I going to pay?
It's the 2,350.
Good. And the person I'm paying is going to be,
Sergeant Insurance.
is it with an A? Sergeant?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sergeant. In Sergeant Insurance Company. Right? So here I'm going to go into, I think I spelled Sergeant wrong here. Sergeant Insurance Co. for company. Okay? Check number 1503, comma, and then you can write in here how 12-month insurance. Good. Now we completed our journal. We completed our check register. So what is going to be next?
The general ledger.
We're going to post it immediately to our general ledger so we know how much money we have in the bank and how much insurance we have remaining. So here, go to my ledger, and exactly how I posted it in my journal, first thing is going to be insurance expense. So let me go find my expenses. Oh, keep going. I have to go up. Okay, so I found my insurance expense. 6.5. Okay, so insurance expense here, this is where you're gonna write insurance expense for the month of June, because that's what this amount right here is for. It's not for the full 12 months, but it's for insurance for the month of June. Okay. All right. Post reference is, I'm still on general journal. I believe I'm on page 1. Let's see. Yes, I'm still on page 1. Almost at the bottom of page 1, so we're going to hit page 2 soon. So general journal page JGGJ1. And I debited my amount for 195.83. Good. Bringing my balance to be 195.83. Okay. So the next thing I have to do is now I need to go to my prepaid, which is an asset. right? And that should be towards the end of your workbook for prepaid. Here's my deposits, and here is my prepaid accounts. So here I'm going to go ahead and make a note on the date. And I'm going to also indicate that I had an advanced payment, PNT, for 11 months insurance. Okay. General Journal number 1, and it's for 2,154.17. Okay. So did you guys remember how to create the formula?
See here.
No.
It's the equal sign,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. Okay. And then it's click on the box above, correct?
Yep.
The 45. And that is going to be minus, right? Because I'm going to, oh no, wait.
You can either add or subtract first. It doesn't matter because it's order of operations. So you can add your debits column first. So in this case, I have 2,154. And I'm going to subtract anything in my credit column, which is I have nothing there. And then enter.
And then enter.
Yes.
So 6,654 and 17 cents.
Good. Perfect. All right. And then lastly, we got to go all the way up in our assets because we wrote a check. Okay. So again, a check number should suffice because you can look up the check number and it's going to tell you exactly who you wrote the check out to. So you don't need to place in what this information is, like why you had this transaction. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, check number 1503, General Journal number 1. And we place this on the credit side for $2,350. So therefore, my new balance should be $11,561.29. Yes. Yay. Okay. So now we have one more step to go. And what is that?
The subsidiary ledger.
Yes, because we're dealt with a vendor.
A vendor.
Yes, so vendors are in alphabetical order as well. So top of the one I see is All Things Ceramics. Then I have Atlas. So they are Sargent. So S. National Bank, Restaurant Supplies, Sargent Insurance right here. So again, I'm going to put the date here. Any notes that you want to put, you could put 12 months insurance. Along with the check number that you wrote.
Ooh.
1503. Okay. All right, so the first thing is, did you have an invoice number? Most contracts will not have an invoice number, but for this scenario, I did not include it, so don't worry about that. Post reference is going to be your General Journal number 1. Of course, when you buy insurance, they don't give you terms or discounts, so we can skip that. We didn't make any advance payments, okay? So our total invoice amount was for the $2,350. And lastly, did we make a payment to it? Yes, we did. We made a payment and we called it check number 1503. Okay? So again, with the accounts payable formula, it's going to be equal. You start off with your invoice amount. Then you're going to subtract your prepaid accounts. Then you're going to subtract your returns and allowances and discounts. And you're also going to subtract out your payments. So therefore, right now, you owe Sergeant Insurance $0. Okay. Good. All right. Okay, so now that we've finished this little transaction here, we are completely done with the 5th of June. So then what has happened on the 6th of June?
Apply for business credit card?
Okay. Do we need to journalize this?
No.
No. We only applied for a business credit card, so we don't have an amount, nor did we spend the credit card. We just applied for it. All right? So then what happened next?
Main Bank approves a line of credit of $9,000
Okay.
to be applied as overdraft protection and personal loans to be in $1,000 increments.
Okay.
Terms, interest rate is 22% applied to unpaid balance amount and compounded weekly.
Okay, so with this, okay, do we need to record this transaction?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, why?
Well, because it's money you actually have now. It approved your line of credit.
Okay, but what is the circumstances that you actually receive this money?
For overdraft protection and then personal loans and $1,000 increments.
Okay, so right now in the bank, do you have sufficient amount of money or are you overdrafted already?
No, we are not overdrafted. So
We are definitely not overdrafted. So this is a protection plan. So comes into the circumstances when you don't have enough money that they'll pay in advance for you. All right? Now, technically, this isn't your money, nor do you receive this money upon you getting approval. It's basically like a credit card, right? That you only recognize it when you have overdrafted. And in this case, so do we need to actually say this is our money?
no,
No.
I was wrong.
The reason being is because the circumstances is you only receive the money upon if you overdraft, and you have the maximum amount is $9,000. So you could be paying left and right as long as you want, as long as you're within that $9,000 window. Because once you've maxed out that amount, that's where they're gonna double whammy you with the interest, and it's compounded every week. So think about it.
That's a lot of interest.
And that's a lot of interest. Exactly. Now that's generous that we're doing it per weekly basis. There's companies out there that will do it every day. And so of course, with that being said, we do not record it. And on top of that, we don't take any personal loans out, right? We didn't withdraw and didn't have enough to cover us. So right now, we have this money when the circumstances is that we overdrafted our bank. In this case, we don't need to record it because no transaction has happened yet.
Okay, gotcha.
All right. Good. So that. Okay, so next question is this one. What did we have here?
Accountant creates new ledger account, loss on disposal of asset,
Okay.
account number 60700. Move $2,000 from the miscellaneous suspense to new account.
Okay. So let's locate these account numbers. So we already know that the account that we created is called loss on disposal of asset, right? We know that this is it's 6,700. So we can automatically, if you just understand how the account chart of accounts is organized, this is going to be considered an expense. Okay. Now it's saying we need to move it out of miscellaneous suspense. So how do you move from one account to another?
With a debit or a credit?
With a debit or a credit. So which account are we going to debit and which account are we going to credit?
We're gonna debit the miscellaneous suspense and credit the loss on disposal.
Okay. So right now, the loss of disposal is currently balance is at 0. Miscellaneous is currently at 2,000. We're moving from miscellaneous into loss into the new account.
I feel like I said that backwards
Yes.
Gotcha, yeah.
because I listened to it as if I was looking at my bank account and
Mhm.
I'm gonna, that's
Right,
why.
right.
Move from checking to savings.
Yeah,
Yes. So in this
Right.
case, it's similar, except you're not going to be debiting your miscellaneous because that's the account we're taking away from. Okay, we're taking away from miscellaneous and placing it into the new account. So the new account is going to be debited for the $2,000. So on June 6th, okay, we're going to debit our loss on disposal of asset. We're going to credit our miscellaneous suspense account. Okay. And we know what the new account is. It's 6,700. What is my miscellaneous suspense account number?
That one is.
oh, there it is. It's
Oh, I found it too.
19,990.
19,990.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And we're going to debit the $2,000 and we're going to credit the $2,000, right? Because it told us to move the entire loss on sale of assets into those proper accounts. So here, I'm going to indicate right here in my description, and I'm going to say move to
I just looked
another.
it up in yours. There you go. Sorry, there was the window blocking. Now it's gone.
Okay. All right, move to new account. Right? So now that I've finished my journal, I'm going to go ahead and move into my ledger. Okay. So the first account I have is loss on disposal of assets. So that's going to be, since it's 60, it's going to be under expenses.
Expenses.
So insurance, labor, license, loss on disposal of asset. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and indicate the date. My item or notes here is I'm just going to go ahead and actually write what this is. This was loss on sale of furniture. General journal number 1. And I'm going to debit my account by $2,000, making my account balance with a debit of $2,000. Okay. Let me know if you guys are done.
Yes.
So then now we have to go back to our assets and we're going to credit out our miscellaneous expense, which should be the very last account in your asset book. So here, miscellaneous expense is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and place it here. My item is going to be moved to another account. Okay. General journal number 1. And this time I'm going to credit my account for $2,000. All right. And if I apply that formula again, go up to the previous one, add any debits, subtract any credits, my account balance should be 0 as of June 6th. And that's exactly what we did. Okay. All right. Now, question to you. Say that again?
I messed up my
Your formula?
formula on that, yes.
Okay, so equal.
Yep, got that. And then the box above.
Uh-huh. Plus your debits minus your credits.
Okay, sorry.
You got in with there?
Yep, under.
Perfect. Okay, so a question to you guys. Do we need to update the subsidiary ledger?
No.
Why?
Because it wasn't a customer. It
Good.
wasn't a vendor.
Good.
It wasn't an employee. And
Good.
it had nothing to do with a commission.
Good. So good. You answered the question just perfectly. This is an internal transaction, meaning it only affects my company's books. I did not deal with any people in regards to this transaction. So therefore, I do not need to update my subsidiary ledger. I only need to update my regular ledger. Okay, so good. Now that we are completely done with that one, what has happened next?
Next is a purchase order, 170301 to Furniture Store for one desk set, unit cost of $562 and a total cost of $562.
Okay, so do I record this transaction?
Well, I don't know that you put it on the journal yet, but you will in purchase orders.
Yes, yes, good. You don't need to record the transaction yet because all we did was to submit an order. We haven't received the product or nor did we pay the product yet.
Yes,
So
it's fine.
here,
Okay, yeah.
so good. So good. But this is very, very crucial, especially if you're going to be utilizing, having a business in general. You should keep track of everything that you're planning to purchase for. So if you send out a purchase orders, you want to make sure that you receive it, and that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to go ahead and record that we have a purchase order, and when it receives, we shall place the information on what invoice it came with. So 6/6. All right, I placed an order. Who did I place a vendor to? Who did I place an order to?
It just says to furniture store.
Okay, so furniture store. All right, and what did I buy?
1 desk set.
So I'm just gonna write a desk set.
Desk set.
Okay, so when it arrives, right, we should receive a bill and an invoice number on that bill. So when the one thing that we make sure that we check to make sure that it is there is that we compare. Well, what does the invoice say? Is this the correct amount? Is this the one that we want? So this one's for $562. Okay, is this the invoice that's correct? All right. So make sure that you have those correct, measurements to how you can perceive which orders that arrive. So when you make, so we are a coffee business. When we start purchasing inventory, it's very crucial that we make sure we match our invoices with our purchase orders. Okay, because most invoices will just only come with the invoice number, no purchase order. So you do need to match them at the end of the day. Okay. All right. What else happened that same day?
We had another purchase order 170302 to furniture store for 1 counter with a unit cost of $1,033 and 5 display shelves with a per unit cost of $102 for a total of $1,543.
Nice. So we placed a purchase order and then we just realized we needed to buy more stuff from the furniture store. So again, you're not going to journalize it. This is just you creating a purchase order. You haven't received a bill nor have you paid anything to it. So here you go. Furniture store. And this time you bought a counter / shelves. And it was for $1,543. Okay. All right. So then, okay, so now that we have our purchases orders in, what happened next?
Okay, so we, the electricity is connected.
Okay.
$100 deposit is required,
Okay.
payable to NV Utilities.
Okay. So in our journal, as you can see, we don't actually have enough space for our transaction right here. Okay, so what I'm going to have you guys do is I want you to practice doing this because this is what happens. You don't want the possibility of someone looking at your books and throwing in a random transaction in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a shape into my, where's my insert? I'm going to draw a line in between the empty spaces. So illustration, shapes, and I'm going to draw a line. Okay, and I'm going to go from the top of this box all the way down to the bottom of this box. And I'm going to, where's my thick line? There you go. And I'm going to make it super thick. Okay, so there's no possibility of someone to come in here and make a write a fake transaction in here, okay? So, of course, using Microsoft, of course, you can manipulate it however you want to, but this is when you're writing your journals out, you want to make sure you have that line so no one can possibly put in a transaction. So that means we're moving on to page 2 of our journal. All right, so here I laid it out for you because let me see what happened here. The electricity, right, is connected. They require a deposit. Okay, so I'm going to journalize my journal on the 6th. Okay, and they require a deposit for the electricity. So deposit. And we wrote a check for them, right? Because a best way to keep track of your transactions is to write some kind of check to have some kind of paper trail of your transaction. So here we go. I wrote a check, okay? And the deposit was for $100. So what account number is my deposits?
18,700.
18,700. Good. 18,700. So because it's a deposit, right? You can't physically touch an electricity deposit, can you?
No.
No. So it's an intangible asset. You own the money because they'll give it back to you when you shut off the water, supposedly. But that's what they're requiring you. Okay. And of course, checking is 10,100. So in this case, what's the first thing I'm going to do?
You're going to the register.
Yes, you're going to write a check for the amount that you owe to this vendor. So here, June 6th, I know that I'm going to write $100 out for this deposit. Oopsies, my bad. I hit the wrong one. And I believe the vendor is going to be NV Utilities or NV Electricity. Is it NV Utilities?
Utilities.
And utilities.
Okay, so NV Utilities is who we're going to write out to. NV Utilities. Okay. So then I'm going to go back to my journal because I know what check number I've written now. It's for 1504. So back to my general journal. I'm going to indicate who I wrote the check out to. So NV Utilities. And the check number 1504. And I'm going to write electricity deposit. Okay. So what comes after the journal?
With the journal, we did the check-in. We need to do the
Vendor.
subsidiary ledger.
Oh,
That
yes.
word, right? That one.
Yes.
The lot. The sub.
A lot of people call it the subledger, so it's easier. Subledger, okay, that can come next. But general rule of thumb is you want to make sure that you update your general ledger first and then take care of the subsidiary ledger second. All right, this is practice so that you don't forget to update your ledger so you don't get discrepancies when you do your trial balance. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my ledger because I copy what's in my journal directly into my ledger. So the first thing I did was a deposit. So that's an asset. All right, here we are. Deposits for June 6th. All right. And then you can also write electricity deposit here. All right. You can also say general journal number 2 this time. Make sure that you know that. And my deposit is for $100. Okay. Giving me a grand total in my deposits to be. That's fine.
$1,600.
Yes, 1,600.
Just wanted to finish my do the thing before.
No worries. That's why take your time. Okay. Okay. So then now the last thing that we have is we need to credit our checking account. So scroll all the way up, or you could press your home key and it will take you all the way up there. I think it's shift home key. It will take you all the way to the very top. And for June 6th, I wrote a check number
1504.
1504. Okay. General journal number 2. And I wrote a check out for $100. So bringing my new balance to be
$11,461.29.
good. $11,461.29. Good. Okay. Now that I completed my ledger, now it's okay. I can go ahead and complete my subsidiary ledger now. So we're dealing with a vendor. Okay. And let me see. This is NV Utilities. Here I am, NV Utilities. Date is 6/6. Notes is this is for electricity. Check number 1504. Okay. And then invoice number, again, I don't have one because usually when it comes to, making payments for electricity and stuff, they don't give you like a number.
complete
It's
bill.
just exactly. Yeah. All right. Post reference, general journal number 2. Of course, they don't give you discounts or you didn't pay anything in advance. So my bill here is going to be for $100, which you made a payment to with check number 1504. So therefore, my total amount that I owe to NV Utilities will reflect at 0. Yes. All right. We start with our invoice, subtract any prepaid, any returns, any discounts, and any payments. So when we actually look at, in a few scenarios, we'll look at entering a bill and see what happens when we actually pay for that bill later on in advance. So it's going to make a lot more sense as we move down the line on how to fill out this actual chart. Okay. So good. Now, yes.
Can I do that formula again? Sorry.
Okay, so
On the it's the minus.
it's going to equal.
In the equal sign, yes.
Mhm.
Sorry.
You're going to start with your invoice amount number. Okay?
And
Then
it's
minus.
the prepaid,
Good.
minus
Minus.
insurance and allowances,
Good.
and then minus discount, and then minus the payment,
Good.
and then enter. Okay.
Yes.
It said no, I did something wrong. What happened? What did I do? Okay. All right, there we go. All right, sorry,
It went through?
I'm done.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I must have hit that one, and then it's good. I'm
Okay.
good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So here we are back again at our transaction. Since we completed all three things, we journalize it, we place it into the ledger, and we place it in a subsidiary ledger. So then what has happened next?
Telephone services connected, installation fee is to be included with first month's bill.
Okay.
So we will take care of that when we get the bill.
Yes. You only record once you receive the bill because that's going to include all the details in there. We just started, so obviously there's no bill yet. So therefore, there's no transaction to record. Good. All right. And then what has happened next?
Naturally, gas is
Go ahead.
connected for $100, deposit required payable to NV Utilities, general journal description deposit, debit 100, checking $100 credit, on check 1505.
Perfect. So here we connected our natural gas. So we have a gas line going through. So they require another deposit. So I'm going to go ahead and do deposits again because they required another deposit. And of course, I paid it using a check. All right. Same thing is going to be entered here, except it's NV Utilities. Utilities, comma, check number 1505, comma. But this time, instead of electricity deposit, this is going to be gas deposit. All right. The numbers are going to be the same as far as accounts, right? We have deposit for 18,700, and then we have the checking account as 10,100. And the amounts are going to also reflect the same. It's another $100 deposit. Okay, so same exact transaction, except the description is going to look a little different. Okay. So first things that we got to do is
Sorry, I'm finishing typing everything up.
no worries.
We went to the thing, we got our numbers already. We need to go to our check register and record our $100 check.
Good. So here we are. June 6th. All right. We wrote another $100. And the check is out to the same place called NV Utilities. So that is also going to stay the same. And I've already filled in the information for you, 1505. So now my journal looks like this. Okay. So now that we have a difference in between them, at least when we look back at our reference point, it's not like we wrote two checks for the same reason. This is a double entry, obviously, for two separate things. Right? So next is
The general ledger.
general ledger. Right? Going back down to assets. So here I'm already at my checking account. Now what I recommend you to do is just do it in order so you don't forget. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll all the way down to my deposits first and then enter in my checking afterwards. Now if you're good at this and you've been doing this for a while, go ahead and do what you want to do. If you rather put the checking in first and then go back and do the deposit. It is up to you. But again, recommendation if this is your first time doing this or doing something like this, I recommend you to just do it exactly in order, because when we're dealing with transactions that have multiple accounts, it will be hard to keep track of what you've already done. So with that being said, I'm going to go to my deposits first. When I find it, so it should be here. So here's my deposit. Again, June 6th. And this time it is going to be for natural gas. General journal number 2. And I am increasing my deposits by 1,000, giving you a grand total of 1,700. Okay. Scroll up all the way now, back up to the top. So here's my checking account, and I'm going to go ahead and enter in the same date. This time check number 1505, general journal number 2, and I'm going to also do another $100 credit, bringing down my account to be
11,361.29.
exactly. Okay. Now that we completed our ledger, we can now move on to our subsidiary ledger. Since the last thing that we dealt with was NV Utilities, well, here we are again. So go ahead and place the same information in here. But this time I have natural gas deposit. And it was for check number 1505. No invoice again, but general journal number 2. Same thing here. Our invoice was for a total of $100, and I made a payment to it with check number 1505. And if I pull down this formula, it should pick up everything and say that you have $0 owed to NV Utilities.
Okay.
All right. Now that we've done with this one, what is next?
Okay, so we have purchase order 170303 to Haley Brothers, one commercial coffee brewer at $2,266, one commercial coffee grinder at $1,249.95. Total cost $3,515.95. And there's a $1,140.22 down payment, a third down payment.
Okay. So here we're making a prepaid or advanced payment to this bill. So this is where we're going to use that category, prepaid accounts. However, because we're paying this, right, it's actually going to be interpreted as something different. So I'll show you what happens when we receive the bill for this Haley Bros coffee grinder and coffee brewer. Now, what's the first thing that we should do first before journalizing this transaction?
We have to register the PO.
Yes.
Log it.
We need to place it in the purchase orders first, just so then we have an idea that we are expected to have this come in soon. Okay, so June 6th, person that we're getting from is from Hallie Bros. Okay, and you can write brewer or grinder. Slash grinder. Okay, and it was for a grand total of
$3,515.95.
okay, and yes, and when we expect it to arrive is when we journalize it. Okay, so because this transaction is in regards to making a payment for this machinery, we're also going to record that transaction there because we did make a payment to Haley Bros. So because it is an advanced payment, we call that a prepaid account. Okay, prepaid accounts. All right. And how did we pay for it?
There's a check.
With a check. So here's checking. Okay. All right, prepaid accounts. What number is that?
That is 18600.
And checking should be 10-100. Now, what was the check amount for? Go ahead.
The check amount was for $1,140.22.
Good. 1140.22. Okay. Okay. So what's going to come next?
Okay, so, well, we have to go to the check register.
Mm-hmm. Make sure that we write that check.
Check, right? 1606.
Okay. For 1140.22. And this is to
Haley Bros.
okay.
Okay, so now back to the journal.
Mm-hmm.
And we can note that we, I guess it's a, how would you put that? Oh, well, you definitely want to state, obviously, that it's to Haley Bros for like a partial or third of a payment, third down payment,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and note the check number and the PO number.
Yes, because we don't have an invoice just yet. We're paying for towards a purchase order. So PO 170303. All right. We have a check number 1506. And then you can also enter in that this is a third down payment. Okay, down payment could be that. No, let me see, down payment. All right. So we completed our journal. So what comes next?
Okay, so, well, now we have to go to the ledger.
Mm-hmm. And update every single account.
Yes, so the prepaid.
So prepaid.
That's way down here. 18. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. And then, prepaid or can you state that it's like prepayment on PO number?
You could also do,
Check,
you could
so
do
that you don't have
one.
to write a bunch of stuff. You can look at the PO number, see what you prepaid, and then the check number, see how much you paid.
Exactly. Yes, you can do that. Yes. So in this case, I'm going to write 1/3 down payment. So PMT. Okay. PO number, I think it was 170303 with a check number 1506. Okay. Yes. So then general journal number 2. And we had an advance payment for $1140.22, bringing your new balance to be
Wolves.
Oh, my formula didn't go. There we go. $7,794.39.
perfect. Good. Right? And because we wrote a check number, we have to go all the way up to checking and enter in that piece of information. So now we know how much money we still have in the bank. So on 6/6, check number 1506, general journal number 2, and I wrote the check for $1,140.22, bringing my new balance in the bank to be
$10,221.07.
yes. So look, we started with $30,000. Now we're down to our mere 10,000 left.
Yes.
All right. So good. And then now we can go ahead and go in for our subsidiary ledger.
And so Haley Brothers.
Okay, yes, so we go to our subsidiary ledger. We find our vendors and look for Haley Bros. So here's honest hire Haley or Hallie, whatever you want to call them.
Haley, I know, right?
So here I'm gonna go ahead and place that. I ordered coffee brewer / grinder. Where is it? Grinder. I mean G. I'm looking for on my keyboard. Grinder and check number 1506, 1/3 down payment. Okay. So here, instead of the invoice number, I'm going to go ahead and place my purchase order 70303, just because that is exactly what I'm going to be looking at, is this particular purchase order, and that's what I made the advance payment for. Post reference is going to be your general journal number 2. Now, this is where this is going to get confusing. Because you made a payment, right? So it's going to show up that if you place in the payment for the 1140.22, this is going to become a negative. Now, in this case, that's fine if you want to leave it here or if you want to place it into the advance payment. But what I'm going to show you is how I'm going to tell you how to fill out the the subsidiary ledger. Reason because this is what makes sense to me, and I want to show you so then when it makes sense to you moving on forth, you could do whatever you like. But I'm the accountant and I'm going to tell you how I want it. So in this case, I'm going to tell you that for the invoice amount, I'm going to have you put 1140.22. Okay? And in the payment column, I'm going to have you put in the 1140.22. So when we receive our bill, we're actually going to use the prepaid column, so it takes away from my actual bill. And it will make sense when we receive the bill and what I'm talking about. Okay, so you just have to wait patiently on the next time we see this transaction. So here, I owe Haley Bros nothing. Okay? All right? And that's because I placed it under invoice amount. Okay, obviously my purchase order is what's going to reflect this invoice amount, but I made a payment to it. So therefore I don't owe Haley Bros anything and they don't owe me anything, okay? This will go towards the bill when you receive it. Okay? All right, is everyone okay here?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so what has happened next?
Oh, sorry. Let me pull it. Purchase from restaurant supplies on an account.
Mm-hmm.
You finance the IT for 12 months with 0% APR. And then we have our sales receipt for what we purchased in the amount of $649.49.
Okay.
Out of cash register.
Okay. So we bought a cash register, and right now they're willing to give us a 12-month 0 APR for the first 12 months. And then after 12 months, then we have to start making payments on interest. So in this case, we have 12 months to pay it off.
Right.
Okay. So let's go ahead and figure out this transaction. So we bought an asset. And how did we pay for this asset?
On credit.
On credit. So good. So here I have a cash register, right? That's one of my assets. And I paid for it on a credit line, or the store. I opened up a credit an account with them. So they let me take it off, and they're going to let me pay them within 12 months without any interest. So you definitely want to pay this in as soon as you can. All right? But that means I'm also going to finance it for 12 months. So in this case, I am going to go ahead and place it on an account because it's accounts payable, right? I owe them money. So then let's go ahead and journalize this. So on 6/6, I got a cash register. Can you tell me what account number is a cash register?
14050.
14050. So let's go. So that is considered under office equipment. Office equipment, it's under there, and it's going to be considered a cash register. For a grand total of
$649.49.
okay, so for this one, right, just like the computers that we looked at, right, it's going to be every single cost it takes to get the asset ready for service. So in this case, a cash register is already ready in service, right? You just plug it in. And of course, we need to include the sales tax on top of it, right? Every cost it gets to get the asset ready to be placed in service. So that's why we're not doing $599. We're doing the full $649.49. Okay. And because we're owing it on an account, So therefore, what account is this going to be? I mean,
Accounts payable.
accounts payable, right? We're owing them money.
Yes, and that's account number 20,000.
20,000. Oop, that's 2,000. One more. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. And it's going to be for the same amount of $649.49. Okay. So because we don't need to deal with our check or anything like that, we can go ahead and make our description here because we have pretty much all the information here. So who's the vendor I bought from?
Restaurant Supplies, Inc.
Okay. Restaurant Supplies Incorporated. So I'm just going to write Restaurant Supplies. INC. Okay. And any other details you want to place in there? You could write finance or whatever.
You could do finance, 0% interest, 12 months or something.
Finance, 0% APR, 12 months. And then, there you go. Okay. And that's pretty much it. Okay. So now we gotta go to our infamous, what do you call it? General ledger. Okay, so here we are at our ledger. We need to find our cash register first. So our cash register is going to be under asset. It's specifically a fixed asset and it belongs to the category of your office equipment. So, I passed it already. So I'm going to search for it. Here's office equipment. I have my computer, my printer, and here you go, my cash register. So 66. Okay, same thing. Notes you could place here is the 12-month 0 APR. Okay. You don't need to write that you bought a cash register because it's straightforward. You're in the cash register account. All right. Post reference is number 2. And I'm going to debit my account for $649.49. So I gained an asset for $649.49. Okay. And then we also have to go dive into our first accounts payable. So our first liability that we encountered. All right. So first account on the page of liabilities is your accounts payable for 66 items. You can write whatever you want. You can write if you wrote that you purchased a cash register. You could put the invoice number on there. All right, post reference is going to be general journal number 2. And because they normally have a credit balance, you're going to have it for $649.49, beginning out your credit balance to be $649.49. Okay. And then lastly, we have to go to our subsidiary ledger and search for our vendor for restaurant supplies. Here you go. Office Supplies Incorporated, right here. 66. Here, you're also going to make your note for your 12-month. There you go. I was like, couldn't get there. 0% APR, 12 months. Okay, invoice number. We do have an invoice number. It's going to be the sales receipt number, which is
001487.
okay. 001487. Okay, post reference. General journal number 2. There's no discount because you went to the store and bought it. So, all right. And the invoice amount was for $649.49. And you did not make a payment to it. So this is where go ahead and apply the formula. So if the formula is going to equal your invoice amount and you didn't have any prepaids, you didn't have returns, and you didn't have any discounts, nor you paid for this item. Therefore, your accounts payable balance is now $649.49. So this is where you could say, I owe restaurant supplies $649.49. So that's how you utilize this table. And as we gradually go down into making more payments to our bills that we collect, it will make more sense as we go down each single line. Okay? So with that being said, I'm going to stop here because it's exactly 2:53. I'm going to call it at 2:55. So please be back no later than, what's that? 2:55, 3:10. So 15 minutes, and we'll continue there, and we'll start with on the new date of the 7th.
All right.
Okie dokie. See you then.